Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of What Do You Need to Know to Live in Costa Rica? Today's topic:
answering community questions.
Hey everyone, I am Patrick Jager, joined as always by my business partner and good friend Aaron Bailey. Hello, Mr. Bailey.
Pura vida, Patrick.
Pura vida. As talked about, today we are answering questions that have come to us over the last month from our blog, from emails, from conversations we've had with people, kind of a random potpourri, if you will.
But Patrick, before we get to the questions,
that was a long pause.
Very awkward.
I opened up a whole
segue.
thing for you.
Yeah. I know.
Right, fine.
Very awkward segue. But please, if you are watching this video, and we would love it if you hit the thumbs up button on this video. Subscribe to our channel. That helps other people find our content. We're trying to grow this community to be really helpful for those people considering moving to and living in Costa Rica. So Patrick, answering your questions.
Answering your questions. We have some doozies, and we've tried to do a little of everything, and there's no real rhyme or reason, just ones that we felt were interesting and kind of talk to some of the blogs we've done over the last couple months. So, Aaron, why don't you start us with our first?
Our first question: is the bald guy single? Yes. No, wait.
That is not here. Hold on. That is not there.
Yes. I am single, everyone. Hola at yourpurevita.com. Feel free to slide into my DMs. No. All right. First question. It's about real estate. Fun one. In terms of buying real estate for residency purposes, as in it has to be worth $150,000 US, how do you avoid overpaying for a property? For instance, I might see a property online for a certain price, but it might not appraise that way and could then fall short of what is needed for residency. So there's that. And it goes on. How do we avoid being Gringo price for property? I am from the States, but that doesn't mean I'm made of money. I'm certainly not made of money. My mom plans to retire here, but she doesn't want to spend all of her savings on a house and then have nothing to live on comfortably. So, two questions.
Take it away.
So the first question of avoid overpaying for a property, and this is going to be the answer to both of these questions, I think, is working with a qualified real estate agent. So often you can just meet someone and buy property from them. It's sort of how I did it. You still have to go through an attorney to make the transaction, but you really should be working with a qualified real estate professional in Costa Rica, and that's a really hard thing to figure out. Sometimes there's really no in-depth licensing process in Costa Rica.
Anyone can call themselves a realtor.
Yes,
it's pretty crazy.
This is where I'm going to pitch what we do at Your Pura Vida. Give us a call. We would love to work with you to find someone who meets your needs in the area that you're looking for, the price point you're looking for. We can set you up with a qualified real estate professional.
Yeah. On that end, though, we vet, just so people understand, we vet the realtors that we refer, really asking them the questions that really is to get to the heart of this. Like, how do we make sure that you have the type of leads, the ability to negotiate? We're not just going to agree to something. We look at referrals. We talk to some of their former clients. And then, even then, we're going to present more than one realtor to our clients because we really want to have choice. And we want who feels most comfortable for you. So doing that due diligence, I think, is really critical.
Yeah, and we do that for all of the service providers that we work with, interior designers, builders.
Plumbers.
We want you to find the right person for you, not for us, for you. And so we will vet them, but then present you with some options. But the question here is about appraising and residency. And that's a really kind of loosey-goosey area.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the answer kind of in a different direction. I think the understanding of like what it takes is there's also thinking about the package. So it doesn't have to be the house, the real estate that gets you that number. Like it could be the real estate plus the car you buy or the appliance. Like there's other things you can do to get that number to where it needs to be. And I don't want to overly state that, fudge on the numbers, but I do agree with you that like appraisal values here tend to be underappraised, not overappraised. Yes. I haven't felt like a house had been overappraised. So, but you do need to know that going in. If you buy a house, to your point, it's on the market for $550. I mean, that if you're at that level, it doesn't really matter. You've overqualified, but if you're at the level, if you buy a house
for literally $150,000, you've got $150,000 in investment in Costa Rica.
Yeah,
it's not a problem at all.
Right. Whether or not it's appraised for that, because it will appraise for that after the taxes.
Right. What about being Gringo priced? How do you avoid that?
I have a real issue with that phrase. Like the whole idea of Gringo pricing. First of all, cut people some slack. There is a difference between a local and a non-local on a lot of things. If you go to the national park, if you're a tourist of any type, you pay a different price than if you were a Costa Rican national. So that differentiation between a Costa Rican and a non-Costa Rican price does happen. Gringo, let's not use that in a derogatory sense, like they're going to gringoize you. No one is trying to gringoize anyone. If you are working with a realtor, they're going to get you the best price. It's not like they're trying. The thing that makes something non-native is what people expect. If you are a foreigner from North America in particular, maybe also from Europe, what you expect out of a house is different. Where's the central air? Where are the upgraded appliances? Where are the high ceilings? If you haven't watched our video that we did with Ivo from American European Real Estate, because I think he gives some really good understandings of what the differences are between different types of people looking at property. Those things that expats want make that prices of those types of homes more expensive than something in the same area that is more native, more built with Costa Ricans in mind. That's the difference. It's not that they're selling for Gringo. It's what we expect out of a house is different. And that's going to change the price.
Yep.
Sorry. Soapbox off. Okay. Next question. I do HVAC for a living, fix, install anything, heating and air conditioning, and finding work easy over there?
No. You are not legally allowed to work without permanent residency. So you're not going to be taking a job away from a Tico, installing air conditioners. You can own a business that employs Ticos installing air conditioners, but you cannot install air conditioners to take a job away from a local. Now, there are some nuances to this, but overall, we want to be good neighbors in this community. We're the ones, that are not Costa Rican, and therefore we want to invest in this country and not take any jobs away.
Yeah, and I think the good rule of thumb is if you're looking for a salary-based income, that is a job. If you are looking for profit-based income, that is ownership. So as Aaron said, you could own an HVAC company and you could train people on the American way of doing HVAC, but you do not get a salary out of that at all. You would get a profit of end of quarter, end of year profit out of that company. And you have to own it. So that is a very big difference. Okay, Aaron, next one.
For the investment visa, do I have to stay there for a full 180 days, or can I come there every 5 months for 1 or 2 days and then do that for 2 years until I get citizenship? I don't know if I know specifically the answer to this, but I think I'm almost certain that it's no. You don't have to be here for 180 days. You can come and go as you need to until you get your residency.
Correct. There was a time where you had to stay in country before you could leave, and that may still be true when you're getting that visa. But once you have the visa, you have the visa, and if you're coming and going, that's totally up to you.
Exactly.
The issue is if you do not have a visa, if you're on a tourist visa, you do have to leave within 180 days. But once you have a visa, it's the luxury of I don't have to, I can.
Yes, exactly.
All right, next one. What if you work remotely? Is that considered working in Costa Rica? No. It is considered, if you work remotely, well, no. I mean, if you're working remotely for a U.S. company and you are based here and your salary is being paid through a U.S. company, you are not considered working in Costa Rica.
Correct. Yep. End of sentence. No need to expand any further on that. If you're getting paid from a Costa Rican company, then yes, that is considered working. But if you are sitting on the beach with your laptop working for your U.S. job, Costa Rica doesn't care. Is it possible to open a bank account with only a tourist visa? Yes, it is. You said that it was hard to do. Yeah, not hard, just really not fun. Is it impossible, or do you just have to know what banks? Yeah, there's a lot of ins and outs, and some banks you can and some banks you can't. It's for me, it wasn't difficult. It just required sitting in a bank for many hours and going back the next day for a couple more hours. It's all possible. It's like everything in Costa Rica, it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah. Oh, Aaron, you read this one. This is a fun one.
Okay. Aaron and Patrick, that's us. Your videos are by far the most comprehensive yet easygoing on YouTube. That is high praise. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Very nice. Thank you. One thing I find missing in general is good information about families relocating from North America to Costa Rica. As I've mentioned before, I have a family of 6. My wife and I have 4 daughters, ages 1 year to 11 years old. God bless you. Wow. I don't see much of anything on YouTube that addresses the cost of a large family moving to or living in Costa Rica. Schools, rentals, purchases, 5 to 6 bedroom homes, etc. Do you have plans on covering these issues or topics? Even if you don't, you have the best information so far. Wow. This guy gets an award. Thank you. Patrick, you have a grown kid. I do not.
I do.
We have helped now a number of families move to Costa Rica or consider moving to Costa Rica. So how would you address this?
Yeah, I think that it depends on if you're looking at Costa Rica independently or if you're looking at Costa Rica versus other countries. Cost of living is more expensive here than it is in many countries that might be in your plan. So clothing can be more expensive. Private schools are cheaper. There's a lot of different things that go into it. Housing prices tend to be cheaper depending on where you're coming from. But with 4 kids, and so 6 in a family total, I think if you're trying to save, the question doesn't say we want to save more money than we have where we are now, or we want to stay consistent with where we are now. I think that's kind of the nuance that I would look for here. If you live in Chicago or you live in San Francisco, you're going to find that overall the quality of life and what you're spending is going to be cheaper here for that family, and you're going to be able to get great services. If you live in a small town, especially in a small town in a part of the country that might be a little less expensive, it might not be the case. If you're coming from, somewhere in Alberta, it might be cheap. It might be cheaper in Alberta than it is here. Overall, though, for families, I think the school systems here, there's a lot of options in private schools and public schools. A lot of people like to have their kids in a private school or some type of hybrid school that has an English language Spanish combination. If you want Spanish only immersion, again, great private schools and public schools, depending on your town. That's one of the things we really try to help with your Pura Vida is people to figure out what is the priority, what type of schooling do they need, do they have special needs? We have a client that we've spoken with that has a child with special needs. So we've looked at where is the best educational opportunities for the type of needs that their child has. So with 4 children, there's a lot to think through. To me, my mind goes to larger communities where there are more options. But the answer is, it's very similar moving anywhere with 4 kids with various needs from daycare to, preteen. We can help you with all that. We can help you think through that. And we'll look at how we address this in future videos as well.
Yeah, we should.
All right.
We should interview some families for future videos.
Yeah, for sure. There's a family that lives near me that have started to homeschool because they didn't like their choice, but they had very specific needs. Their neighbors have 3 kids that are all in basically think of it like a charter school here in town, and they love it. And they've been encouraging everyone to move to that town. So I know just kind of anecdotally that there are people are very happy when they move their kids here. Okay, great. Question. This is Aaron. A question that I'll ask you answer because you've actually done this and I haven't. Can U.S. doctors transfer prescriptions to Costa Rican pharmacies?
No, they cannot. However, what you can do is you can take your prescription from a U.S. doctor to a Costa Rican doctor, and that's generally they don't need to do much. They'll just write you the same script. However, not all drugs in the United States are sold in Costa Rica. So you kind of have to navigate that. So you should just see a Costa Rican doctor or walk into a pharmacy and ask what you should do with that prescription, that U.S. prescription. A lot of times they'll have a doctor either on site or they work with one, and they can make it really easy for you.
The other thing, though, I would add to this is there are a lot of people who there's always a reason to go back. If you're going back to the States every 3 months to 6 months, is get enough of a supply to bring down until you go back to the States for the next time. I even do that with Tylenol because you can't get Tylenol here. So
I buy some of my drugs I shouldn't have said that. I buy some of my medicine in Mexico, some in the United States, and some in Costa Rica. So it's a little bit of everything. All right. Next question. What do you guys think about home dehumidifiers for those humid areas? Here in Texas, it gets hot and humid, so a dehumidifier is great for keeping the air inside comfortable and also helps us save money with lower AC bills. Can you find those there, or should I add that to the list of must brings? Patrick.
Yeah, you can find them. You can find them here. I mean, I would not bring a dehumidifier. That's a huge area that you're going to ship down, and you're going to pay for that. You can find those here. I use them in my closets for clothes, but you have AC, so you have central air that kind of does some of the same thing.
I at the beach I have a mini splits in each room, and they have a dry mode. Yeah, they have a dry mode which works lovely. So that's what I would recommend. In the city, I don't really need it. Well, things are somewhat humid, but I don't really need it there. All right.
Okay, Aaron, I want you to answer this one, so I will ask the question. This one was kind of stopped both of us in our tracks, and respectfully to the person that emailed it, it is a great question. So I don't want anyone to think that we're mocking the question. It's just we both have very strong beliefs on the answer. Question is, I am wondering about shipping a couple of guns down there. I know some people don't like this idea, and I'm not saying I would, but as an option, I'd like to know. In the little bit of time spent looking, it seems it's possible to do.
Yeah, so we would say please don't bring guns to Costa Rica. Guns are legal in Costa Rica for very specific use cases. you have to have, I believe, permanent residency, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So yeah, Costa Rica doesn't need any more guns.
This is a neutral and non-aligned country. It doesn't even have a standing army, so it has really made its mark on that. And the people that we tend to attract as a country agree with that. I do know people that have guns, and they have their reasons. And I'm not here to say if guns are good or bad, but this country is not gun culture, and we would just not advise it.
Yep.
Okay, next question. Go for it.
How do you rate the internet and cell phone service? I'm trying to decide between the two places, and my top 5 priorities in order are safety, cost of living, internet access speed, residency requirements, and ease getting to and from Eastern United States. Cell phone and internet service, no problem whatsoever. It depends on where you're at in Costa Rica. In the city, I have 300 megabits down, 30 up. Same at the beach, actually. Both of them are very similar. Patrick, you're in the jungle where it's a little harder to get internet, so it's a little slower. But Starlink has just come. So generally, not a problem. You just have to kind of figure out where in Costa Rica. If you're in the middle of the mountains, you might not get cell signal.
Yeah, I don't get great I didn't get great cell service here at my house, but I did in my community. And the reason I didn't at my house is because I'm kind of in a bowl. But they put a cell tower not far from here, and now I get great cell service at my house. My internet is actually microwave internet, but now I have Starlink that I'm installing, so that should add to that. But it really depends. I can't have fiber here. They don't offer fiber in my community, so the options are different. So I think the bigger thing is having backup power, so that if power goes out in your house, you do have power for your Wi-Fi, so that you can stay active. I think that's really the question that needs to be answered by what you're asking. By saying you need internet implies to me that you need to work and you need to be connectivity. Power is more spotty a lot of times, depending on where you live here, than is internet service. And that power is because if you can look out, we have a lot of trees that can fall down on lines, and some of that's quite isolated. So it takes a while to get someone out to fix that. So I think as long as you have strong power abilities or backup power of some sort, you should find that the cell and the Wi-Fi here are great.
$150 at Office Depot or Price Smart buys you a battery backup to power your internet equipment for a good 2 hours. That's all you need.
And it will come back up. I have whole house solar backup.
Patrick's fancy.
I am fancy, Aaron.
You are fancy.
It's about time that you recognize that. Speaking of fancy,
this is a tough one.
Here's a fancy question we got. It's more of a statement. I'm not going to read the whole statement, but it will lead into a question. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that you guys do not speak Spanish and only get your news from the English news sources here, because you read the local news, you would see that if you read the local news, you would see that violence is everywhere in the country, including the tiny little town I live in. Yes, most of the murders are related to drugs, but a lot of murders are also related to loan sharking. Drug money is loaned to people who can't get loans, blah, blah, blah. And when shootings take place, they happen in public, and there's usually innocent people that are caught in the crossfire, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Fully respect your question. Not your question, your statement. Fully respect your statement. We do get our sources from a lot of places. Both of us are avid devourers of news, probably too much, and we share stuff. A lot of that is English, but a lot of that is Spanish that we translate. We try to be very open-minded about that. You want to say something, I can tell.
Yeah, I have taken literally every news source that I can find in Costa Rica, Spanish and English, and I suck it through an API, an AI program that summarizes it all for me. And Patrick's laughing at me, and gives me alerts for certain keywords, so places I live and things that I care about. And so, Yeah, and then I'll go and read the news source in Spanish. As I'm learning Spanish. Granted, I am not fluent, so yes, we do not speak fluent Spanish, but I'm learning by reading news sources, and I'm reading nearly every day Spanish-speaking news.
But let's rather than spending this time justifying why we are not illiterate on this topic, as this implication is, the reality is when we talked and did the safety video, we were talking about relative safety. If you have your wits about you and aren't going to do something stupid like walk by yourself in a dark neighborhood that is already known for crime in the middle of the night, but if you're a normal, smart person, this is a safe country. Yes, there are times that it's not, and it is very unfortunate, but it is very isolated. My neighborhood in Denver, I happened to read in English that there was a huge shooting there just yesterday. And I feel very comfortable and safe there. So violence and security and all those things are true everywhere. And one of the reasons people move here is they want to avoid the violence that is where they are. You can't totally avoid violence.
Right.
But what you can do is think wisely. And we both believe our opinions that this country is significantly more safe than other countries expats can move to in the area, and also than in many of the cities that we come from.
Absolutely. And let's state for the record that any crime, any murder is tragic, whether it's drug related or loan sharking related or not. These are human lives, and one person dying is too many. But I feel very safe in Costa Rica versus a lot of the places that I lived in the United States.
Okay, so we're going to add to that another question. I'm female, going to Costa Rica with my teen daughter, potentially investigating relocating over there. We travel often, but suddenly I'm very afraid of Costa Rica with the recent reports of crime. As solo females, we are flying into San Jose and moving on to Tamarindo. I'm from New York City and pretty streetwise, but any advice would be appreciated.
No advice needed, I think. You live in New York City. You are very streetwise. You'll be fine here.
There is nothing, there are a lot of female travelers that come here solo. They go on yoga trips or surfing trips, what have you, and they do meetups. The advice is don't do dumb things. Don't take up offers on the beach. In Tamarindo, you will get offers for drugs on the beach. Don't take them up on it. That is just dumb, in our opinion. So if you stay thinking smartly, anywhere can be safe. When you put yourself open to things, the safety goes down. But I think you and your teen daughter, are going to have an amazing trip.
Amazing.
And we hope to hear from you how it was, and we hope to hear if it sparked a desire to move, because that would be awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay, there's one last question here. Is the handsome man in the blue shirt single? We've already answered that question. The question is yes. You.
Oh, this is green. This is a green shirt, but
it is?
It. Yes.
Okay. The handsome man in the green shirt. Sadly, the question really said is the guy in the white shirt.
The guy in the white shirt is not single. He has been hitched for decades.
Wow.
So
that almost went somewhere bad. Okay. I'm gonna end this. We're gonna do this. We are gonna do this every single month, because we really do get great questions, and we want people to know that we are listening to those questions, and we do try to respond to them in blog, but this allows us to do it a little more in depth. So that's this month's community questions. We do want to hear from you. How do they get in touch with us, Aaron?
Send us your questions. Send us your questions for a future video, or just about moving to Costa Rica in general. Hola@yourpuravida.com. Hola@yourpuravida.com. And check out our website, www.yourpurevita.com/links has a bunch of resources, blogs, videos. We talk about our services, our website, our Instagram. Find it all there. And again, shoot us a comment on these videos. If you disagree with something, great. Please, we would love to hear, love to discuss with you in the comments what didn't resonate, what was different, what about your experience. This is just our experience, our opinion, and we want to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, we'll have a lot more questions coming. So we are definitely looking for new topics. So put those in the comments as well. We'd love to hear your ideas. Until next time, this has been great. He is single. I am Patrick. This is single Aaron. And until next time, Pura Vida.